sorry.
After more than 16 years, Warner Brothers is finally making I Am Legend 2 happen, a sequel to the 2007 sci-fi horror hit. Now we can dive into how the sequel could bring in a big Darkseeker twist straight from the book that Will Smith's original movie left out. Plus, let's break down why using the alternate ending is crucial for Will Smith's return. Here's everything we know about the movie so far. Will Smith starred in the original I Am Legend, a huge hit both critically and commercially, directed by Francis Lawrence. The movie was based on Richard Matheson's classic novel and became one of the standout CGI-heavy blockbusters of the 2000s, earning a top spot in Will Smith's filmography. For years, there's been chatter about a sequel, but the controversial ending of the first movie, where Smith's character Robert Neville dies, made things tricky. A prequel was once on the table, but now I Am Legend 2 is officially happening, with Michael B. Jordan joining the cast and Will Smith returning, even though he rarely does sequels. Warner Brothers is moving forward, and reports suggest they've got their eye on Creed 2 director Stephen Caple Jr. to helm the project. While he hasn't signed on yet, his work on blockbusters like Transformers: Rise of the Beasts makes him a strong candidate. Screenwriter Akiva Goldsman, who worked on the original, is back to pen the sequel, which is still in pre-production. The project has been stuck in development for over 15 years, but in May 2024, Smith reassured fans that progress was being made, sharing his excitement about the long-awaited movie. As for casting, Michael B. Jordan's role is still a mystery, but his involvement adds major star power. There's also speculation that Alice Braga might return as Anna. Goldsman confirmed some big story details. The sequel will take place decades after the first movie and will ditch the original ending where Neville sacrifices himself. Instead, it'll follow the alternate ending, which was closer to the book. In that version, Neville realizes the infected aren't trying to kill him, but are actually trying to rescue one of their own. This revelation flips his perception, showing that they see him as the monster. Goldsman also revealed that the story will still be set in New York City, and he's drawing inspiration from The Last of Us to explore a world where nature has reclaimed the land. This new approach will dive deeper into the idea of zombie societies and their social structures, sparking theories that Michael B. Jordan could be playing a Darkseeker. All of this makes I Am Legend 2 sound like it's shaping up to be a fresh, faithful take on the source material. As for I Am Legend 2, there's a big chance to dive into something the first movie skipped from the book, a major twist about the Darkseekers. Richard Matheson's 1954 novel, which inspired the 2007 movie, had a lot more to say about these creatures. While the original movie didn't follow all the book's ideas, the sequel seems ready to explore new layers of the story. Even though Matheson never wrote a sequel, this new movie will continue the journey of Will Smith's Robert Neville, despite his character's death in the first film. Thanks to the alternate ending from the DVD release, Neville's survival is now official. It's a wild move, but the sequel could take even bigger risks. One big change? The Darkseekers might talk this time. In the book, the creatures are more like vampires who can speak, not the zombie-like monsters from the movie. They even have traditional vampire traits like avoiding garlic and only coming out at night. Adding this ability to speak could open up some fascinating dynamics between Neville and his enemies. It would also connect the movies back to the book's roots and make the sequel feel fresh instead of just rehashing the first movie. And the timing works perfectly for this. By the time I Am Legend 2 comes out, at least 15 years will have passed since the events of the first movie. That's plenty of time for the Darkseekers to evolve into something closer to their book counterparts, maybe even intelligent beings capable of forming their own society. In Matheson's story, these vampires see themselves as the next step in human evolution, building a new world in the ruins of the old one. This idea could add depth and complexity to the sequel, showing how far the Darkseekers have come since their mindless beginnings. So why didn't the original movie go this route? It was all about tone. Matheson's story blends sci-fi and horror, but the 2007 movie leaned heavily into the horror side to emphasize Robert Neville's fear and isolation. The silent, animalistic Darkseekers added to the tension and unease, which wouldn't have hit as hard if they were talking and negotiating. But now that the groundwork has been laid, evolving the Darkseekers into something more sentient could be an exciting way to push the story forward and make the sequel stand out. Now, let's talk about why I Am Legend 2 using the alternate ending makes sense, especially since it's the only way Will Smith can return as Dr. Robert Neville. If you recall, the theatrical ending of the first movie had Neville heroically sacrificing himself to save Anna and Ethan, blowing up his lab and a bunch of Dark Seekers in the process. It was intense, emotional, and very Hollywood. But that ending didn't align with the deeper themes of Richard Matheson's novel. The alternate ending, which many fans argue is superior, paints a different picture. Instead of dying, Neville realizes something groundbreaking. The Dark Seekers aren't mindless monsters, they're a new kind of species trying to survive just like him. This realization forces Neville to confront his own actions, recognizing that he's been the true villain in their eyes, a boogeyman to their evolving society. In this version, he makes peace with the Dark Seekers, returning the female Dark Seeker he had captured and experimented on. He leaves with Anna and Ethan, heading to Vermont to find a human colony. Now for I Am Legend 2, this alternate ending is key. It not only ensures that Will Smith's Neville is alive and ready to continue his story, but it also aligns more closely with the book's themes of humanity, morality, and evolution. Plus, having Neville survive sets the stage for a sequel that explores a world where humans are no longer the dominant species. If the sequel is going to delve deeper into the lore and themes of Matheson's novel, the alternate ending is the perfect starting point. Neville's survival allows for a continuation of his journey, not just as a scientist trying to save humanity, but as a man grappling with his own role in the fall of society. His transformation from savior to legendary monster is an important narrative arc that the theatrical ending simply ignored. Producer and writer Akiva Goldsman has even mentioned that I Am Legend 2 will be set decades after the events of the first movie. Inspired by post-apocalyptic stories like The Last of Us, the sequel aims to show a world where humans are no longer on top. This opens up so many possibilities for storytelling, especially if the Dark Seekers have evolved into something even closer to the intelligent, society-building creatures of Matheson's book. But here's the catch. Not everyone has seen the alternate ending. When the first movie hit theaters, audiences were only shown the version where Neville sacrifices himself. The alternate ending was included in the DVD release, but not everyone got a chance to watch it. As a result, some people might be confused when they see Neville alive in I Am Legend 2. The good news is that this can be handled pretty easily. The sequel could start with a quick recap of the alternate ending, showing how Neville survived and the events that led him to Vermont. This way, audiences are on the same page before the story dives into the new world. Despite the potential for confusion, using the alternate ending is absolutely the right move. It gives the sequel a stronger foundation, allowing it to explore deeper themes and more complex character dynamics. Plus, it avoids the trap of simply rehashing the original movie story. Instead of focusing on survival horror, I Am Legend 2 has the opportunity to dive into questions about what it means to coexist with the new dominant species. Sure, some viewers might need a quick refresher, but that's a small price to pay for a sequel that stays true to the heart of Matheson's story while taking it in an exciting new direction. With Will Smith back and Michael B. Jordan joining the cast, there's plenty of potential for I Am Legend 2 to be a thoughtful, thrilling, and worthy follow-up. And that's that for today's video. Thank you so much for watching our video today, and we will see you in the next one. Your suggestions for future videos are always welcome in the comment section below.